Hello and welcome. My name is Arashona. In this video, we're going to look at how to get started making money in the program NeoFly. There are lots of ways to make money in NeoFly, but we will primarily focus on the market system as well as how to hire AI pilots to fly your planes. To demonstrate this process, I will start with a brand new pilot in normal mode, obtain a second plane, and take our first pilot flown mission as well as our first AI flown mission. These missions will combine normal missions as well as goods from the market. So here we are in NeoFly, and this is a brand new pilot. He only has 10,000 in cash. That's what you start with in normal mode. If we take a look at the staff, we'll see that the pilot has got no experience. And in the hangar, the only thing in the hangar is the Cessna Skyhawk with the G1000 GPS unit in it. That's one of your three choices as starter aircraft. That just happens to be the one that I went with for this aircraft. So how do we get started? How do we start making money? Well, the easiest thing to do is to buy yourself a second aircraft. You need more aircraft to start generating income because you can then hire AI pilots to fly your additional aircraft. But how do you do that with only 10,000 in cash? Well, what you do is you come on over here to the Finance tab, and there at the bottom are loans. Now, loans may seem scary at first, but they're actually not too bad in NeoFly. First thing to know about loans in NeoFly is as long as you make a payment in the period before it is due, any sort of payment, in the current version of NeoFly, you will not be charged interest. So that's helpful. Plus, once we start generating money, we'll be able to pay this loan off. So we don't have to worry too much about interest as long as we're paying our loan off. And the idea is to get enough money to get your engine started to then turn around and pay it off. So looking at what we have available right now, I would say our best starting bet is probably, most of these are going to be too low because we need money to A, buy a plane, and then B, buy some cargo. And so the old adage that it takes money to make money applies here. You got to have money to be able to buy cargo, to be able to sell it for a profit. So that leaves us with basically three choices: the 3,811,000, 4,911,000, or the 68 million. Well, that's way more than we need, and really that one's more than we need too. So 3,811 is actually also probably more than we need, but that'll suffice. So how do we actually take a loan? You do that by right-clicking on it and then going to execute loan. Now that we've done that, we actually have plenty of money now. Now we have money to get ourselves started, and basically it's seed money. We'll have to pay it back, but that's okay. So let's take a look at where to go from here. Actually, before we do that, let's take one more quick look at our loans. One more thing to show you. Just so you're aware, you can see at the bottom the loans that you've got, and that's how you make your payments back and so on. And you could see the interest rate. We went with the 6% interest rate, which was also another reason to go with this one over some of the others. But again, interest really, we're going to pay it off before the interest comes due. So we'll actually won't have to pay any sort of interest on it. But I did want you to be aware of the interest rates as well as where you would make payments on it. So here you would just select it and make a payment back towards it. So any rate, with that in mind, now let's head back on over to the missions and see where we go from here. Okay, now that we have money, we can start by investing in a second aircraft. to actually make money to pay off the loan and then go in the black and go up from there. So the first thing to do is here on the missions tab, take a look at the aircraft that are available. We are actually in LFPG, which is Charles de Gaulle, right outside of Paris. That's just the ICAO that I decided to choose for my starting location for this pilot. And if I look, here's what's available. We got some Diamond aircraft. Boeing's way overkill. Looking at what I see so far, I'm kind of taking a look at payload, what they can carry, passengers. I'm thinking our best bet is going to be either, well, we could go with the Diamond aircraft 40 NG. Now, do know with that aircraft, that's only available to fly yourself if you have the deluxe version or higher. I do happen to have that, but regardless, you could still buy it in NeoFly, and you could even have AI pilots fly it, even if you don't own it in Microsoft Flight Sim. You just won't be able to fly that one yourself if you don't have it in there. But anyway, what do we have off the bottom here? Nothing exciting off of the bottom. So I would say our choices come down to either the DA62, if we want to put out as much as almost $1 million, or the DA40 NG. Or we could even go with the straight DR400 if you wanted to fly it yourself and you didn't want the DA62. But do know that these are random, and this is just how it randomly started me. I think I am going to go with the DA Diamond Aircraft 40 NG. So in order to buy it, you right-click the plane, and you go down to buy. And you now are in a brand new DA40 NG. And if we look in our hangar, sure enough, we now have 2 aircraft to work with. And we still have plenty of funds left over to start adding cargo to our planes, which is where you got to have the plane, and then you got to have money to be able to buy the cargo, which will then turn around and sell at a higher rate for a profit. So that's what we will take a look at next. So we want goods, but first of all, we got to figure out where we want to fly and then start looking at the market and comparing. So to do that, let's take a look at the missions in this area. There's our map. We've got a lot of clutter on here right now, so we can declutter it. We can also change the way the map looks. If we don't want street maps, we can turn on satellite if we prefer, like that. But we still got all the clutter to deal with to try to figure out where we want to fly. So the first thing I would do is search the missions that match our rank. That will get rid of a lot of the stuff right there. So that pared it down. We can fly any of these. However, anything with a camera here are tourist missions. They're fun, don't get me wrong, they're great. Same with the emergency missions. However, they're not flying to another airport. The tourist missions, you take a tourist up, you bring them back to the same airport. The emergency missions, you could go to another airport because you basically land out on the emergency mission, and then after you pick up, do the drop-off of the doctor or whoever you're taking out to the emergency mission, you then fly to an airport of your choice. But right now, we're just looking for missions from one airport to another. So we're going to remove those as well. So we can come in here and actually take off the tourist missions. And we can also take off the search and rescue missions. Now, once we've done that, I got the search and rescue off, which we're not eligible for yet. Sorry, that was the wrong one. It's the emergency. That I'm looking to get rid of it. There we go. Now we've pared this down to missions from our starting airport to other airports that our starting pilot can fly. Okay, great place to start. So the next thing we need to do is we need to take a look at the market. So if we come over here to the market, you'll see we haven't searched for anything on the market as of yet. So let's start by simply doing a search for LFPG. Let's just see what goods are here. And here's what we have for sale. We have got phones. Phones are always good, but the problem with phones is they're sensitive. That means you got to mind your landings. Otherwise, they're very profitable unless you land hard, in which case you will lose phones due to breakage. And you can tell that by this symbol here. But I'm guessing that's probably going to be our best bet. Well, we got old wine and some other stuff that can be quite profitable as well. Now that we have some sort of idea what's here, let's take a look at what's around us. Now, the reason I did a search on the missions first is I'm trying to match up a mission run to start getting some experience and some cash that way with market goods. I'm trying to do them at the same time. So we want to start looking at what is available or what they're buying at these other airports in the area. So we've got lots to choose from. So if we right click on the orange dot that represents the IKO, here this is where the airport is, you can do a preview of the market. That's handy. And what that does, it popped it on my other screen there. That does an overlay to show you exactly what oh, look, they're buying phones. That might not be too bad. We'll look around a little bit, but that's a good starting point. Is we can buy phones here because they're selling them at our current location, and they're buying them here. And I will show you another way to look at that in a minute to give you an idea of how to maximize profits, how to do better on that. But and again, you can preview any of these and see what they're buying. Okay, this one's probably not buying anything real helpful. These bottom two, you can't find those for sale. These you only get from the exploration missions, and I did a whole separate video on how to find that treasure. You can only find that once a day, and that can be very profitable. But for now, we're focused on the market. So there's nothing particularly good here. So, but there's another way to look at that. Same airport. Was this one I went to? Might have been. Anyway, if we, instead of going preview, if you do compare market, what that will do is that will show you, obviously it wasn't because this one has phones at even higher rate, actually. Oh no, that's the number. If we want to see the rate, we can. But anyway, here phones are 112 per unit. And I actually prefer to look at things by pound. And if you double click it, that'll rise that right to the top. I just like to know what my profits are per pound. So in this case, phones would be 582. I'm sorry, that's total benefits. Sorry. 224 per pound. The next best would be meat. So we'll probably want to focus on phones. And again, if you're going to fly this yourself, you got to watch your landings and know that AIs can fail this as well. So you are taking a risk. But you could look at several of them in the area and just kind of compare markets. That's what you got to do. And know that the market is generated the first time you do a search there. So right click on it, airport, compare market. What do we got here? Oh, we got phones here too. So it looks like a lot of places are buying phones. 284 a pound. So you just kind of gotta look around and figure out where you want to go, where you want to fly. What was this one? This was the one we already looked at. And let's see. Yeah, that one was only 224. So this one's better. But we got stuff up here. Well, again, let's sort it by that. That helps. Nothing too spectacular up there. Yeah, wait, are they? Oh no, they're selling phones, not buying phones. That's why that's not listed there. Is that's selling. So we have several options here. The next thing to do, once you've targeted, is verify the missions are good too. And you can always do that by just clicking on the mission. And that brings you back to the mission tab, and that tells you that passengers 2, cargo 330, that's pretty good. We should be able to carry a fair bit of cargo, because you do have to keep in mind how much your plane can carry and that sort of thing. And you can find that on the hangar tab as well. But you can, like if we were to say we're going to fly the Cessna Skyhawk, well, we have a max payload of 867. So we've got room. Now that's got to include 170 pounds for the pilot. It's got to include our mission cargo, in this case, 2 passengers at 330 pounds. So we've already got 330 plus the 170. So there's 500 pounds already accounted for. So let's see, now that we know that, exactly how much they're buying, because you don't want to load up too much, otherwise you're stuck with the extra goods too. So let me check, and give me a second here. So if we take a look and we do our compare here, airport, compare the market, we will see, sorted again by benefits by the pound. And there's our phones. It's suggesting 521. And we could, right here, go ahead and load them up. But let's, again, double check that. And you simply can preview the market. And we'll see, sure enough, they are buying 521. So that's the quantity we need. If we buy any more than that and put it on this plane, we're going to get there, and they're not going to buy any more than 521. We'll have surplus we'll have to deal with. So from there, we just simply will check our plane out and buy the goods, and just a second, not sure, let's try that again. There we go. I don't know why it didn't take the first time. Do you want to buy goods? Yes, we do. And notice, it's not cheap, 246K. That's why we needed that loan in order to make money. Yes, we're going to make some nice money off of this. In fact, I can even show you what we're going to make here in a second. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Hit no. If you want to see what you're going to make, again, go back into the compare. And we'll we'll do it by here. You can actually see what we're going to make. We're going to make almost 74K on just this short run. Not bad for starting out. For your very first flight, actually, not bad at all. You won't always see something like the phones. But again, you're taking the risk on the landing. So if you're not good on the landings, I wouldn't go with phones because you will break it and then you will be losing money. So we'll buy it. There we go. Always double check I'm putting it in the right plane because otherwise it could be in the wrong plane. Well, I already have it selected, but yes, that is the correct plane. So we will say yes. There. Now we can see that we have those phones in that plane. Very good. So basically from here, not a whole lot left to do. We've already, checked the mission. It's a whole 13 nautical miles, and we're going to get 1,575 as a reward or as the payment for flying this mission. Plus we'll get 60 experience points. We'll get going on that. And if we land smoothly, which we really need to with phones on the plane, we'll get a small bonus there as well. And there are other bonuses and the like. So now that we've got that, that's what we will fly. So we're all squared with that. So the next thing to consider is, and you could queue it up and fly it right now, but before we do that, I think I'm going to, since we have two planes, there's a reason we bought a second plane, I'm going to find another airport to send some of the other phones to, and I'm going to hire an AI pilot to fly it. That way the AI is in the air while I'm in the air as well. So that's going to give us that much more profit. So since we happen to have phones here, we should have over 100K profit on just our first couple missions. Granted, we took, going on a 4 million loan, but for your first flights, you're already taking a nice step towards paying that loan off. Much, much faster than if you were to sit there and try to grind away little missions to start to get up enough money to be able to buy the stuff in the market. So, so that's where that sits. So let's take a look at getting an AI hired. And actually, first of all, let's load some goods on the other plane. So come back to the market. Now we're in the market. What we want to do is we want to find another location. We had one over here, I believe, that was also, and you could look to maximize your absolute best, but right here, this one's not too bad. That was 224. So this is another 62K we could make. It's suggesting 554. And if you want to, again, verify it, you can click on, sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's try that again. What I wanted to do was right click on it. And I was actually, well, this is something else we need to do. We've got to make sure that, actually, before we do that, since we clicked on missions, let's follow this thought. 330, we got to make sure we have enough cargo space to do the mission and the cargo, and we should have plenty because it's only also 330, just like the other one. Or is that the same? That's the same mission. Excuse me. Let's try this again. Click on this mission over here. There we go. It's even less. 243. Not a problem. This plane carries a little bit less, but plenty of weight room. So we're good on that. Now that we know that we can carry the weight, pop back into the market real fast and right click on the airport and check you can check its amount this way as well. And sure enough, they're buying 600 is as much as they will buy at 586. Well, that's probably more than we have left at where we are. And we can search the market here and verify what we have got left on. No, we got plenty left. Okay. I probably clicked on the wrong place. So let's compare the market here. And it's still suggesting 554. Interesting. Oh, it's because of the plane. There we go. It was calculating how much cargo space was left on the plane. I forgot to change the plane. Very good lesson there. So now that, because we're loading them onto the Diamond aircraft plane, because we didn't want any more than that loaded on here. We're already full up as far as what they'll buy where we're going to fly, but we're going to send our AI over here. So 609, plenty. We verified that we have the cargo space with the mission plus the pilot for the AI. No problem there. So we will go ahead and buy it. And again, double checking. Yep, that's the aircraft we want to buy it. We want to load it into. Yes, we do. Again, going on 300K. It's the reason I took out the loan I did. There we go. So now we have phones here. Well, like I said, we could fly them both. That would require flying there, flying back, that kind of thing. Or you can hire AI pilots to do the work for you. I'm going to fly one of them myself, and I will actually spare you guys watching the flight, but I will also send the AI on the second one. So let's get the AI in the air first. So if I come to the staff, I got to hire somebody. And then here's your career, which is, this one's brand new, but there's also crew. So if you click on the crew subtab, here are all the pilots that you can hire. Now, I have got sensitive goods on board. I don't want to break those phones. I don't want to lose that money. So what I would do is I'm going to start with a pilot that has really good skill. Now, they don't have to have a whole lot of qualifications because this is a Class A plane, but we want somebody with really good skill. So let's go with, say, Yoda. Yoda looks 90. Yeah, Yoda's pretty good bet that Yoda is going to make it there safely. So you can right-click it and hire the pilot. This will hire her for 24 hours. If you want her again tomorrow, you got to hire her again. Got to keep an eye on her health if you fly her too much and so on. But for this short, one flight should not be a problem. So yes, we do want to hire this pilot. So now that we have Yoda hired, and you can verify the current crew that you have right here, when you hired them, when it's going to end, and so on. What we can do from here is we can then go back to our missions, or you could just simply click on the mission there. But regardless, go back to our missions, right-click the mission. If we were going to do it ourselves, we would click fly. We're not going to stack missions. We're basically going to choose the plane and the crew. So we could have even rented a plane rather than buy one flat out, but you can't rent a plane with an AI, so we'd had to send the AI in our only plane and then rented something else for ourselves. But in this case, I just chose to buy a second one. That way we have two to work with. I want to send them in. It's important that you get the plane right because the two quantities of phone are different. If we send the Diamond aircraft to this airport up here, they're going to have too many phones and they're not going to be able to sell them all there. We're going to have to figure that out. So we want to make sure that we send Yoda in our Diamond aircraft. And again, even if you didn't own this plane in Microsoft Flight Simulator, you could still have Yoda do it here. Notice Microsoft Flight Simulator is not even running at this stage of the game. So that's the plane. That's the pilot. We click that and away she goes. She is now on her way. Okay, so she is on her way, and that's what we want. LFXU. She's flying, and she's going to make us some nice cash there, hopefully, most likely. So next we have to worry about ourselves. We're actually going to fly this one ourselves to LFPA. Again, if you want to double check it, you could search the market on that, and you'll see that that is in fact where they're buying the phones that we're loaded up ourselves. So we're going to fly that ourselves. Go back to the mission, and now I lost it here for a second. Hang on just a second. Got to be careful you get it just right, or you'll get yourself in trouble. I don't want to fly to the wrong airport there. That is not the right airport. That is not the correct one either. Oh, I see where I got myself off. Let's go back to LFPG. There we go. LFPA. See, it's real easy. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing. You gotta make sure you get it correct. LFPA. There we go. The 330 pounds. That's the one we want. So we're going to fly this ourselves. We right click on it. We click fly. And then that in turn brings up everything we need to fly the plane. From this point in time, I will start up Microsoft Flight Simulator. Notice that I'm going to have to adjust the payload manually. I've gone over this in another video, so I won't do that here. I won't actually go into Microsoft Flight Simulator in the video. I'll just do that offline to save you guys all of that. And I will then make sure that I add up enough weight in there, because it's going to require goods weight plus mission weight plus pilot weight. And then from there, once I get there, I will come on back and we will see the selling process. And I will wait till the AI gets there and I get there, and then I'll come back and we will sell the goods, and you'll see how much money we had or how much money we make. Not too bad for just starting out. Welcome back. We just had a successful flight, so we are now up at LFPA instead of LFPG. That's where our pilot is, and our AI pilot successfully flew their flight as well. You see here in the log, there's my flight, and most importantly, since we were carrying cell phones, we got the soft landing bonus, which means we didn't break any phones. That's always the danger with cell phones. People sometimes wonder why their things disappear. Well, if they look at their log while they're flying, or at the end of the flight, they would see that they lost some stuff due to hard landing. So unfortunately, I accidentally cleared out my log here before I restarted, so I can't show it to you. But I had a very soft landing and a very good landing. In fact, I got all the bonuses and whatnot, I think. But the important thing here is the cell phones. The cell phones made it perfectly. So if we come back to LFPA, and now we're on the market. I clicked on the market tab. This is where our pilot is. So if we click on that to do a search, we can see down here that our baggage in our Cessna, our cargo, is now here. And if we come down, lo and behold, there we go, 521, 521, just what we wanted. So now we make our nice little profit. Look at that. And then we can sell it off to the market. And again, there's more warehouse stuff, but we're not going to worry about that. So we sell it to the market. Boom. We just made a tidy little sum. Same thing with our AI. If we come to the hangar and we find the plane what we're looking for that the AI was flying, and you can, this is one way you can quickly get to where you need to go. Right click on that, and now we can search the market at this location where the plane is. We could have done that for ours too. And there it is. Sure enough, they're looking for 609, and we brought 609, so we're going to make a nice little killing here too. Oh, all said and done. Looking at our total is only a few hundred K shy, really, of where we started, and that included buying the plane. If I were to sell that plane back, we would be well ahead of where we started. So with a short flight and the help from an AI, we were able to quickly generate some income. And you can, you can expand your fleet from here. I could buy more planes. I could come back to the mission tab and let's see what planes for here. One thing I did, it dawned on me, I misspoke earlier, was I mentioned renting planes. Renting planes are great for missions. They do not work for cargo. The reason being, once you get to your destination, just like you saw me at the market, check the plane here, and this, you don't get that for the rental plane. So a rental plane does not work for this, because there's no way to load cargo on it to begin with. Likewise, if you're doing exploration missions, some people rent planes for that, and that's all well and good till you find the treasure, and the treasure is loaded on a rental plane, and you get to market and you don't have the treasure to sell. So that's kind of a downfall there. But so you can't rent planes and carry cargo. That does not work. You actually have to buy it. So you had to do that here. So I could now turn around if I wanted to, and here at LFPA where I'm at, I could buy a TBM if I wanted to. I could actually afford that. Again, I have a loan to pay back, so I don't want to get too crazy, but the more planes you have in the air, the more cargo you can move, the faster the money comes in. So we should easily be able to repay back our starting loan well before the deadline for any payment. And I usually just pay it all off and be done with it. That way I know I'm in the black from then on out. But we're sitting at $3.5 million, and on the finance tab we owe, so we are less than 300K from paying off that. Now, granted, a lot of it's because we didn't spend it. We didn't make that much, but we didn't spend that much either. So we almost, in effect, paid off the plane that we bought at the beginning. So at any rate, that is how markets work. It's a good way to get yourself some seed money and get started making money. And that's also how AI pilots work. And again, here's Yoda. If you wanted to see how Yoda's flight went, I guess I should show that real fast. If we come to the hangar here, there it is. Yoda's there, and Yoda got a successful landing for us. And as you saw, we didn't lose any merchandise. Again, AI can, just like you can fail a mission and they can land hard. But that's the reason I picked this particular pilot, is my chances were better, much better than some of the others, that she was going to be successful. So I think that about wraps it up for here. It gives you a good idea of the market and how to get started making money. So if you have any questions or comments, please use the comment section below. I will be more than happy to answer any questions. For more information on NeoFly, check out www.neofly.net, and there's where you can find downloads. You can find access to our Discord. Our Discord community is a great community, very friendly, very open. Be more than happy to answer questions. Also in the Discord community, there are some excellent guides. There are video tutorials, many of which are here in this channel as well. So, feel free to come and join us in Discord. In the meantime, have fun flying and take care.